Who will explain the picture?
याद उसे किया जाता है डॉक्टर जिसे भूला जाए मैं आपको कभी भूलती नहीं राजशेखर का
Madam, he will get the photo. So will Rashekar ji, please. Rashekar.
मैम थोड़ा पीछे हो जाए प्लीज।
महाराज आपकी मैं तो नमस्कार आपकी गैरहाजिरियाँ लग रही हैं अनुबंधना समिति की 2 मीटिंग में आप
मैं तो बताने गया था
नहीं हमें किसी ने नहीं बताया सतीश जी नहीं है दो बार आपकी बैठ के कर चुके
It's stressful. And here are the most important for us places in relation with India. PJ. This retreat is the exodus of our ancestors from Kannauj. Maybe 53,000 people, craftsmen and artists from Kannauj. He needed these people for his place, and we are the descendants of these people. Because after Ghazni...
You are the descendants of Muhammad Ghazni then.
Exactly. So he sold...
53,000 people from Kannauj.
Exactly. As Abu Nasr al-Usli, his personal secretary to Sultan Mahmud, wrote in his book, Kitab al-Yasin, the only migration. Because all over the world we have only one language. The Indian element of the Romani language is unique. There is no changes. So there was only one migration from one place. It's very important. And after that, we migrated, so there was a lot of people to Baghdad and Matikar. And we arrived in 71. Well, the whole place was very quick. And I suggest in 2 years, there will be 1,000 years of departure from Kannauj, which is a great festival.
Rajri is here with us. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us here. Ladies and gentlemen, a loud round of applause to welcome ma'am here this morning. Cultural diplomacy and the principal sponsor of intellectual and academic exchanges between India and partner countries. It is the Council's resolve to continue to symbolize India's great cultural and educational effervescence in the years to come. Antarashtriya Sahyog Parishad, Bharat, was established in 1978 by public-spirited eminent personalities who were pioneers in their fields. Over the years, ARSP has launched a number of sustained initiatives and organized a series of activities to promote interactions and connectivity with the diaspora, has constantly interacted with leadership and the people of other countries, and has acted as a voice for diaspora and a vehicle of communication with the Government of India for articulating the diaspora's concern. Well, ladies and gentlemen, consistent with their objectives, ICCR and AR by 15 scholars from India and several members of parliament from the 12th to the 14th of February 2016 to draw attention to the Roma community and to lay the foundation for the study, research and promotion of its cultural, political, social and economical situation by re-establishing cultural links. Well, with that overview, we would now like to inaugurate this conference by the customary lighting of the lamp this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, a loud round of applause will just add to the job. Thank you very much. Our guest of honor, Shri Jovan Damjanovic, Honorable President, World Roma Organization, Romani Pen, Professor Lokesh Chandra, President, ICCR, Shri Shashank, former Foreign Secretary, Government of India, and President, ARSP, Shri C. Rajashekar, Director General, ICCR. karoti kalyanam, arogya dhan sampada, shatru buddhi vinashaya, deepa jyoti namastate. Thank you very much to everyone on the dais for formally inaugurating this conference. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are more than delighted to have with us the Honorable Minister for External Affairs, Srimati Sushma Swaraj, who has been kind enough to grace this occasion with her highly valuable presence. We would like to extend our gratitude towards ma'am by presenting a bouquet of flowers. I'll request Professor Lokesh Chandra to kindly felicitate our chief guest for the morning, please. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together right here and welcome ma'am. Thank you very much. We are equally delighted to have with us our guest of honor, Mr. Jovan Damjanovic, President, World Roma Organization, Romani Pen. I'll be requesting Sri C. Rajashekhar to kindly welcome sir. Thank you very much. Well, without any further ado, I will now hand over the stage and request Sri C. Rajashekhar, Director General ICCR, to kindly welcome the audience.
Honorable External Affairs Minister Srimati Sushma Swaraj, respected President ICCR Professor Lokesh Chandra ji, President World Roma Organization Sri Jovan Damjanovic, President Antarrashtriya Sahyog Parishad and my illustrious senior colleague, former Foreign Secretary Ambassador Shashank ji, participants from the far and wide Roma community, International Roma Conference and Cultural Festival, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my dear brothers and sisters. First of all, I would like to extend a very hearty, warm welcome to each and every one of you. I am sure you must have noticed how happy we are by the festive look that Azad Bhawan is sporting, and I'm very happy to also see a conference filling an auditorium. It doesn't happen all the time. I would like to attribute this to the gracious presence of Honorable Minister Sushma Swaraj ji for kindly gracing and inspiring us with her presence. I would like to extend a very special welcome to our brothers and sisters, scholars who have traveled far to be with us today at this conference. Misto Avliya, Bharat mein aapka hardik swagat. A hearty welcome to each and every one of you. When we were organizing this conference, many of my colleagues, ambassadors, friends, scholars congratulated, but also some have cautioned. They said, are you sure you want to do this? Because conducting foreign relations, there are two schools of thought, at least so far as I know. One is the way being very reserved and saying, excuse me, sir, we have not been properly introduced. Or go around the world as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam family members. If you go around the world looking for a friend, you may not find any. But if you go around the world as a friend, as a brother, with goodwill at your heart, you may find the whole world full of goodwill for you. This is the great heritage teaching of India. We are familiar with our NRI, non-resident Indians are never returning Indians, as you would like to put it. NRI friends, who have made US their home, we have interactions. And a couple of decades ago, we have also started closely interacting with our brothers and sisters who had left India about 160, 170 years ago, who had made especially Fiji, Mauritius, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname their home. And we are connecting, continuing exchange with them. There is one more missing link, more colorful, but which is not very conscious in our hearts and minds. That is the Roma link. That scholars will tell us the origins, how they went. But what is really striking is that I got to interact with them briefly. The linguistic, emotional, and cultural strong bonds that they have towards India. They are very emotional to come. We had a meal, and the bonding is like a family reunion that happens after long gap of time. Perhaps this Prasiddha Roma Kavi, he captures this essence in this beautiful Kavita I will like to present. This is the Roma Kavi saying, मेरे भारत तुम मेरे हृदय की कंपन हो, मेरी आत्मा हो, प्राचीनतम देश हो, विश्व के पुरातन संस्कृति को समाये धन धान्य संपन्न, मेरी पितृभूमि, मेरे प्यारे भारत, मेरे न्यारे भारत. This is the sense that we got. I am sure when you interact with them, you will also share this. I would like to extend a hearty welcome to also our President, Professor Lokesh Chandraji. ICCR has a glorious history, a strong image, branding, but more about the performing arts part that, we do present dance and music and other aspects. But Professor Lokesh Chandraji's guidance is also do not neglect but highlight the cerebral and the cardial link with the world, the academic and intellectual engagement with the world. So this conference is thanks to the inspiration of Professor Lokesh Chandraji. Thank you very much. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our media colleagues. You may have seen some provocative teasers in the media, whether Charlie Chaplin, Elvis Presley are related to India, are they our lost cousins? So these would be part of our deliberations over the next 3 days. I would like to request the media colleagues that in these days of austerity, cuts and amputations, it's not easy to find funds to do conferences. So when we do conferences, it's very important. We have 300 people in this auditorium. 3,000 people think about it and 30,000 more people follow and many more thanks to the television and media outreach. So I would like to request the media colleagues to give this widest possible coverage. With these few words, I would like to extend a warm welcome and a pleasant stay to all the delegates who have come from far. They would also be traveling to Chandigarh and Jaipur and interacting with our leaders. Several ministers, including Honorable Minister for Human Resource Development and Minister of State for Home, will be receiving them. So I wish you all a very pleasant stay and very fruitful deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for that overview and, of course, for getting the conference right here. Now to introduce Lala, Academic Coordinator, Joint Secretary, ARSP. Can we have a round of applause for ma'am, please?
Honorable Minister of External Affairs, Mr. Guru, Professor Lokesh Chandraji, President, World Roma Organization, Mr. Yovandar, Mr. C. Rajashekar, dignitaries, excellencies, distinguished guests, Roma brothers and sisters, Bhral and Mary Penn. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, enshrining the fundamental principles of friendship, cross-cultural connections, academics, exchanges, ideals of peace and harmony, feelings of mutual love and respect, togetherness and transcendence in life, lay the foundation of survival of this world. ICCR and ARSP are the two institutions that give platforms to envision and to enhance them, to enshrine them. Here we have gathered today with long forgotten children of India. Our heart travels with the caravans of millions of roaming Roma brothers and sisters whose ancestors had traveled across West Asia, Europe, and other countries. Their history of migration, roots, and identities had gone into amnesia. The veil of mystery began to be uplifted when their distinctive identity came into. Great land is Bharat. Yak is Agni, Ag. Rashai in their language is Rishi. Trashul is Trishul. Yek, Dvi, Trin. The numerals come from Sanskrit. Academic speculations and exhibition are focused on their historical, ethnical, social, and cultural perspectives, educational and economic challenges, and the way forward. Today, we have gathered to usher into a new era, to revisit a forgotten page of Indian history. Scholars and activists are working in large numbers abroad, but a few Indians have so far undertaken this field for their search and research. Let us educate and inspire more Indians. The cultural evenings will bring to you the way how they are endowed with a voice of overpowering beauty, surprising and seducing with snapping fingers, clapping hands, and whirling skirts. Collective consciousness of Roma Bhral and Mary Bain. Hail us to awaken, to explore, to inspire, to join them on the path of acknowledging their achievements, facing the challenges, to move into future by coming into mainstream without leaving their own identity behind, their own inner being that have given pride and the strength for survival over past centuries. Let us listen to them, be a part of the path. भारत उनके हृदयों में विराजता है. आइए उसके दर्शन करें. They carry India in their hearts. Let us feel and envision it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for highlighting the very strong connect which is there between the Roma community and India, and of course, sharing what the conference has to offer. Moving ahead, ladies and gentlemen, it's now I take this opportunity to request Professor Lokesh Chandra, President ICCR, for delivering the keynote address. Let's give it up for Professor Lokesh Chandra, please.
Our iconic foreign minister, Srimati Sushma Swaraj ji, representing the ARSP, DG of the ICCR, Shri Rai Shekhar ji, distinguished brothers and sisters from abroad as well as from home. Our hearts travel with the roving caravans of Roma brothers and sisters. They have trod a path of romance across Asia and Europe for millennia, which has left its traces in the words they picked up in their wandering. Like the Silk Route, they represent the ancient steel route. For centuries, itinerant smiths had carried the tempered steel of Pushkalavati in the northwest of ancient India to classical Europe. The Roma have been steel smiths of Europe, besides singers, dancers, and fortune tellers. When the Greek scholar Paswati heard the Roma call the cross Trishul under the clear sky of Constantinople, he realized that it refers to Trishul, the trident of Shiva, the god of cosmic dance. Long last, here was their origin. The forgetting of the Roma had become their belonging. The Roma scholar, Dr. Vanya de Gila of Paris, termed his people Ram no Chavi, the sons of Rama. To the Roma, India is their roots and laurels. Their seeking hearts roam back to India, their frontier between history and legend. They discover in India their sky, waiting to be touched by a breath of the morning. A large fire is the heart of any Roma camp. India kindles a warm fire for the Roma and casts her spell into their rippling hearts. India fills 1,000-year-long dream of the Roma. Mandi si tadisco them. I have a paternal land. India is the yearning of their heart, a glimpse of their home, a poem and pain of their vast remembering. Endowed with a voice of overpowering beauty, they have surprised and seduced Europe. Snapping fingers, clapping hands, and whirling skirts, Rai and Rani, gentlemen and ladies, make their violins cry. The soulful music with rich rhythmic style carries poignant but unknown memories of a lost homeland. The Roma return to India to sense the subtle nuances of behavior which 1,000-year-old exile from India could not wash away. The speech of Roma is scented with the aroma of India. Yag is Hindi art. Rashai is the venerable Rishi, the bishop. Roma dialects are spread all over Europe. They are an early phase of the Hindi language, which has been lovingly preserved by the Roma people. Their vocabulary, basic vocabulary, is the same as that of Hindi. The numerals are the same. They are making all efforts to preserve their linguistic culture in a responsive dynamism to changes. Their linguistic personality is expressed in a creative way. For example, they have their own place names for the towns and cities of England. Lalo Gaon, Lal Gaon is Reading. Bauri Gaon, Badi Gaon is London. Churiesta Gaon, the town of knives. Churi Gaon for Sheffield. Dr. John Sampson of Oxford says that the Roma called the engine Yag Tha Pani, Aag Ath Pani. The English word Paul, meaning comrade, mate, is the Roma Pal, brother, friend, derived from Sanskrit Bhrata. It's a Roma custom to enliven long winter evenings by folk tales reminiscent of golden times. Round any Roma fire, stories are told by an expert raconteur who, by his flashing eye and dramatic gestures, enriches the dignity and simplicity of the original tongue. In the rich medley of their lexicon, we can catch tags of the deep Roma, which are traces of a once stately language. The Roma seek their deeps of their language in India. Haunted by tortures and tyranny, martyrs to their mores, crucified for their dark complexion, and brutalized for the beauty of their tongue, they have sung for centuries, loaded with chains and in the deepest dungeons. The heart sings as it is consumed. All that I can embrace with my eyes and spirit is gay like the necklace of a Rome woman. My black heart says to me, have no fear. All this wealth belongs to you too. My hands and my feet, that is my wealth. My two black eyes, that is my world. My black heart, soft and sweet like honey. Origin of the word Roma. In the exhibition, this Roma say they went from India in the 10th century. They went around the 3rd century BC. The word Roma is found in many Sanskrit texts under the form Domba. Domba means one who beats the drum. Dombi is the feminine form of Domba. Dombi is a goddess in the He Vajra Tantra. She is in the northwest of the mandalas of He Vajra, of Nairatma and Vajradaka. The goddess Dombi is shown dancing in her Ardha Paryanka posture. Dombi Pad is one of the 84 siddhas in the different traditions of India, Tibet, Mongolia and China. The Guru Dombi Pada wrote a short treatise called Amrita Prabha, in which Dombi is one of the 5 yoginis. How did we perceive the Dombi? That is just to tell you that they have been conceived as gods and goddesses, not only as dancers and musicians. In all the North Indian languages, we have the word Dom. dome in Pasha, and even in the dialects of Afghanistan, the domes are very prominently represented. I shall just skip this. The semantic spectrum given above indicates that in European dialects, the word has an ethnic connotation of Roma people, as different from the European. In Indian languages, the etymological and primary meaning is wandering musicians, and two other professional connotations are barber and basket maker and the steel smith. In Kumauni, it is the designation of a hill tribe. The social spectrum of the Roma in India. The word Rai in Romano Rai, Roma gentleman, refers to the self-governing guilds, every member of which was a Rai, a prince, a nobleman, from Sanskrit Raja. All the members of the guild were entitled to participate in the governing process, like the participatory governance in Switzerland. Hence, every member was a Rai, a king. Baro Rai, nobleman. Barvalo Rai, wealthy gentleman, and other expressions in John Sampson's dialect of the Gypsies of Wales indicate that the Roma were a professional entity. When they entered Europe, they rightly proclaimed royal status as per memories of their social perception. I have indicated in my paper the places where the Roma people are represented. In the Raj Tarangini of Kallana of Kashmir, the Domba is the name of a son of King Utkarsha. Again, Domba is the name of a son of King Sajja. And he is designated as Rajaputra prince. So the Dombas have also been the princes, not just dancers and musicians. The King Chakravarman, granted of Kashmir, who was ruling Kashmir from 936 to 937, granted an audience to a famous Domba singer named Ranga, who had come from abroad. This is very interesting. The troupe captivated the king and gained power. I have quoted the entire passage in my paper. But what the king was enamored by the dance of the Dombi girls, encouraged by the sophism of one of his favorites, pays no regard to their caste and takes Hansi and Nagalata into his harem. He falls wholly into the snares of their arts of love. The Raj Tarangini has several references to the enchanting dances of the Roma. King Yashaskara of Kashmir of the 10th century fell in love with the Doma girl, and he took her into his harem. King Kshemagupta roamed about hunting surrounded by the Dombas carrying nets. The love-blind King Chakravarman of Kashmir, captivated by the Dombi Hansi, reminds me of the dancing performance of a Roma beauty in Varna, Bulgaria, with her hips, arms, and breasts in tumultuous waves of fierce passion ready for pleasure. The swelling flood of her sensual movements summoned the spectators to sink deep into the ecstasy of physical love. Consumed by the fire of her dance, numbed by her rippling limbs, one could only say in the words of the Gita Govinda, Tava vapurapi ratidana sajjam, chandi abhisara sarasam alajjam. O fierce, passionate woman, your body is ready for the battle of love pleasure. She reminded me of the singer Dana Mir of the Barmaki quarter of Baghdad, where manumitted slaves of the Baramikis lived. The dancing girls, called Gawazi in Arabic, claim descent from the Paramakas, the abbots of the Buddhist monastery of Navavihar in modern Balkh. Musicians and dancing bells are part of the mandala of the Buddhist scripture of Sukhavati Vyuha, dedicated to Amitabha. Romani and Hindi. We all know that Romani is close to Hindi, but there are two things which deserve mention. The Romani language has preserved very ancient forms of Sanskrit. So which clearly show that they have gone in a period when the Sanskrit declension system was alive. For example, chores of the thief, chaurasya in Sanskrit. Choren, again Sanskrit chauranam. We don't have these cases in Hindi anymore. So to me personally, Romani is the earlier form of Hindi, and I call the mother language of my language Hindi. It's not Hindi which is the mother language. Romani is the mother language of Hindi. For example, day's work, diveses kero, divasasya, of the day, the genitive singular. And I think it doesn't survive in any Indian language, it survives only in Romani. When I was a young student in Europe, I studied Romani for the simple reason that it gave us certain forms which have been lost in Hindi over the centuries, but are preserved in the Romani dialects of Europe. Professor Christo Kuchukov, he came in 2001 and spoke of a standard Romani language. I think if we could really achieve a standard Romani language, it would be a major contribution of India to the emergence of a powerful, expressive Romani language. Their Badothan, their mother country, will actually become their mother country, their great country. It is the moral duty of Roma scholars as well as ours to collaborate in the formation of standard Romani. When these dark complexioned people entered Germany in 1417, they wore colorful clothes and bore aristocratic titles. They have held their heads high in self-respect and in preserving their identity and their language. Let us join Roma dreams of evolving a standard Romani language. The Roma, according to me, are children of Shiva. The Roma were discovered to be of Indian origin when Paspati heard them call the cross Trishul, the Trishul of Lord Shiva, the Lord of cosmic dance. The Roma congregated the Church of Saint Marie de la Mer in the south of France on 23rd to 25th May to pay homage to their patron goddess. Their patron goddess is Saint Sarah the Black, goddess Kali, the consort of Lord Shiva. On the final day, she is carried by the devotees on their shoulders and immersed in the Mediterranean Sea. While the priests shout, "Vive Saint Marie," the Roma respond, "Vive Saint Sarah," as they are not interested in Saint Marie. Immersion in flowing water is the sacred rite of Visarjana in India. The Fralipe, fraternity of the Roma, says prayers to fire or Agni, the divine element, has power to protect the weak, heal the sick, punish the evil, and endow with health and strength. To quote a poem from the journal The Gypsy Lore Society, "Fire, thou punishest the evildoer, who hatest falsehood. Thou scorchest the impure, thou destroyest offenders. The flame devoureth the earth. Devour if he says what is not true, if he thinks a lie, and if he acts deceitfully." Roma and the Silk Route. The Roma are ironsmiths, coppersmiths, and their tools of a native anvil, pair of pliers, vise, hammer, etc. resemble those used by village blacksmiths in India. The cannon makers of Skopje and the gunpowder makers were the main group of metal workers in Serbia. They earned their living by making household metallic objects like knives and sieves. In India too, they can be seen on the outskirts of habitations and are known as Gadia Lohar, ironsmiths on wagons. Welsh Romani Sastaran means iron and any implement made of iron. It may be derived from Sanskrit Shastra, weapon. It fits well with the Roma making cannons in Serbia. They made weapons for the state in the 15th century during the reign of King Ulaslo II of Hungary and were close to the royalty of the time. They also remind me of the Fuladi district, 7 kilometers west of Bamiyan. It must have been a major center for manufacturing steel. And we find this word for steel in the Greek as proklais from the name of the city Pushkalavati, which was a great trade emporium for steel. The new Persian pulats for steel are also from Pushkalavati. Like the Silk Route, a steel route linked India and Greece via Iranian land. The Romas trod this steel route as itinerant steelsmiths in continuation of age-long tradition. The Greek word prokleis occurs in the 3rd century BC. That is, the Roma might have been going as early as the 3rd century BC out of India to give steel to the world. The Roma have been persecuted over the centuries. But they have been a proud people who have not accepted persecution. Turkey, home to the world's largest Roma population, passed a law in 1934 that allows the government to deny them citizenship. To succeed in life, the Roma tend to conceal their roots, and so do the many who have made it in cinema and music. The Roma journalist Mustafa Aksu filed a case in the European Court of Human Rights against a book published by the Ministry of Culture of Turkey that calls Roma polygamists, prostitutes, and thieves. He got the Turkish encyclopedia to expunge the words immoral and shapeless from its gypsy entry. Color discrimination continues to our day. A UK-based Indian origin man, not Roma, Mr. Amrit Surana, was deported from the USA due to skin color by the US Customs and Border Protection on as late as 17th of January 2016, 1 month ago. On 25th January 2016, Italian football bosses called Mandzukic a shitty gypsy during a heated clash. The term gypsy, zingaro in Italian, is perceived as offensive and has acquired strongly negative overtones comparable to a racial insult such as Negro. Over 13 European Romani organizations are fighting against anti-Roma sentiment and are pressurizing Civil Rights Foundation. The Human Rights Commission of the United Nations has to give a status to the Roma. The people of India wholeheartedly support the Roma in their peaceful struggle to get equal social, economic, political, and cultural rights. To conclude, I come to thee to look in thine eyes, to see the light of wonder of our ancient tokens. Our wayfaring path of old lies strewn with remnants of speech. They help us to retrace our way to the inner chamber of life, to share the seat buried under the dust raised by time's chariot wheels. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us with your in-depth knowledge of the rich cultural overlap of the two communities. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege now to request our guest of honor, Mr. Jovan Damjanovic, Honorable President, World Roma Organization, Romani Pen, to kindly address the esteemed gathering. Let's give it up for sir, please.
Poštovane dame I gospodo, braćo I sestre,
Brothers and sisters,
poštovana
ladies and gentlemen,
ekscelencijo,
Your
poštovani
Excellencies,
predstavnici Visokog doma
and
Indije,
the High Court of India.
ja dolazim iz
I
Srbije
come from
I
Serbia.
dozvolite mi
Please
da vam prenesem
let
srdačne
me,
pozdrave prijateljske
give
Srbije
you friendly
indijskom narodu I indijskoj državi.
For the Indian people and the Indian country.
Također želim da obavestim prisutne
I would also like to inform everybody
da je na
here
ovom
that on this
vrlo značajnoj međunarodnoj
very
konferenciji Roma
important international conference of the Roma people,
prisutan I ambasador Srbije,
the
koga ujedno I
ambassador of
pozdravljamo.
Serbia is also here, who I would like to greet also.
Ovo je veliki dan
This is a great day.
I mislim da je ovo
and
jedinstveni
I think
moment
it's a unique moment
I jedinstvena konferencija
and conference.
posle 1000
After
godina
1,000 years
da je naš bratski narod
that our
Indije
brothering
organizovao
people of India organized
ovu značajnu konferenciju
this important conference.
koja će uroditi plodom
that will be fruitful
i koja će konačno
and that will, as a result,
Indija priznati romski narod
have
kao
India
svoju
accept
dijasporu,
the Roma people as its
nacionalnu
diaspora
manjinu.
and get a diasporic national status.
Ja sam srećan danas
I am very happy today
i moja delegacija
and
Svetske
my
organizacije Roma,
delegation of the World Organization Roma,
kao što je rekla pokojna
as
gospođa
the deceased
Indira Gandhi,
Indira Gandhi would have said,
mi smo danas
we are today
ando Barotan ande Indija, u veliko mesto u Indiji.
in this great place, India.
Mi imamo dosta susreta
We
pre
have
ovog
had a lot of meetings before
susreta
this
koji su,
that were
ali to je bilo 86.
But this was
73. godine,
in
gde je
86
bilo
and 83,
više kulturnog
where it was
značaja,
more of a cultural
kulturni
value,
manifest.
and we had a cultural manifest.
Ovo me raduje i ova konferencija, ovo nije samo
This is a great happiness
kulturni
to me.
manifest,
This
ovo
conference
je
is not only
danas i
cultural,
veliki
but
i
it's
smatram da je
also
ovo
a
i
great
politički
event
dan
because
za
it's
Rome.
a big political day for the Roma people
A i za Indiju
and for India.
da ima u svetu, Evropi
So it has in the
12
world
do
and in
15
Europe
miliona
12 to
Roma
15
koji je njen
million
narod.
Roma that is her people.
Dame i gospodo,
Ladies and gentlemen,
Romi su u
the
Indiji
Roma
narod
people are
autohton
an India people,
na prostorima
indigenous
jugoistočne i
on
zapadne
the
Evrope
territory of southeastern and western Europe.
i u drugim
in other
delovima
parts of the world.
sveta, kao i
It has
svim
attributes
obeležima
that make them a
koji
special
čine posebnim
national
nacionalnim
entity.
entitetom. Mi smo danas slušali predstavnike
Today we
Indije
heard
koliko su govorili
the
o
heads of
Romima.
India
Pa
how
kažu
they speak of the
raj,
Roma people.
baro raj,
They say right.
dan, muj, nak,
They say
bal,
nose,
jak,
head, eye.
kuj. Pa to su sve
Those are
reči romske.
all the Roma words.
I vidi se
And
da
you
Indija
can see,
koristi
it's
romske
obvious
reči, da
that
smo
India
mi
uses
iz ove
the
naše
Roma
velike
words.
Indije njen narod.
That we come from this great India, we're her people.
Ja mogu da vam kažem
I can tell you
koliko je važno
how important
da
this
Indija
is
prizna
that
romski
India
narod
accepts the
u svetu,
Roma people
dijaspori,
in the world as its
kao svoj narod,
diaspora, as its
kao
people,
svoj nacionalitet.
as its nationality.
A ja ću samo napomenuti
I would like to emphasize
kako je Kina
how China
napravila proboj u Evropi i celom svetu.
made its way through Europe and the whole world.
Pošla je svoj narod,
It
otvorili
sent
su
its
razne
people,
firme,
they opened
radnje,
different
preduzeća
the firms,
i ekonomija je
and
u vrlo
the
visokom
economy
stepenu
is in a great
dala veliki
extent
doprinos.
gave a great contribution.
Ja očekujem da naša
I expect
Indija
that our
učini
India makes
sa svojim narodom koji već postoji
with
10,
its people,
12, 15
India
miliona u
should do the
svetu
same
Evropi.
with its people, which is already there.
To
all
treba
over
da
the
su
world.
vesnici,
Millions of us. Those
tu treba da
should be its
ojačamo
peers.
ekonomiju,
That's where it
da
should
ekonomski
strengthen its
ojačamo i Rome,
economy,
ali da
strengthen the
ojačamo
Roma people
i indijsku
economically,
ekonomiju.
and in this way, the Indian economy.
U Indiji
India,
ima nove tehnologije,
You have new
Indija je
technologies.
poznata u svetu kao
It's in
inovatna
the world.
tehnologija,
It's
Imamo
known for
tekstil.
innovative technology. We have textile,
imamo motore koje se koriste danas u savremenom
motors
svetu,
that's
imamo
used in the
bicikle,
modern world, bicycles,
imamo konfekciju i
confection,
drugih materijala koji
and
su vrlo
other
interesantni
materials
za
that are very
Rome,
interesting
da
for the
otvaraju
Roma people
firme,
to open
mala
their
srednja
firms,
preduzeća
small
i da
and
te
large
resurse
companies,
premestimo
and
po
these
Evropi i svetu i
resources
da prodajemo.
can be taken to Europe and sold there.
I braća Romi imaju interes,
It's
a i
in
ekonomija
the interest for
se
the brother
ojača
Romas,
u
and in
Indiji.
this way, the economy of India is also strengthened.
Ja mislim ovoga puta
I
da
think this time
Indija
India
itekako razmišlja vrlo ozbiljno
has
da na tom
is
polju
thinking
imamo
seriously on this
rezultate.
field of achieving results.
Strategijom Svetske organizacije
The
Roma
strategy of the World Roma
trebaju biti
Organization,
postavljeni opšti i posebni ciljevi
special objectives should be achieved,
koji se žele postići s provođenjem planiranih
and
mera,
the realization of planned
vezanih
measures should be
upravo što sam govorio,
put in relations of what I have
u ekonomiji,
before, in
u
economy,
kulturi, pa i
culture,
politici.
and politics.
Pa za koga treba da glasuju 10,
Who
12, 15
should the
miliona?
10,
Mi moramo biti
15
stalno u kontaktu.
million of Roma people vote for? We should be in contact constantly.
Poštovani dame i gospodo, kao predsjednik Svjetske organizacije Roma
President of the World Roma Organizations
i kao prvi
and
ministar
the
bez
minister
portfelja,
without portfolio,
koji sam izabran
I've
od strane Srpske radikalne
been
stranke i
elected
doktora
from the
Šešelja
Serbian Radical Party and Mr. Šešelj, Dr.
i
Šešelj.
u 2 mandata narodni poslanik.
In 2 mandates, I've been commissioner.
Čast mi je i najsrdačnije
It's my
pozdraviti sve
honor
vas,
to
cenjene
greet you,
učesnike, goste
all of
međunarodne
you,
konferencije.
the international conference.
Radujem se što mogu pozdraviti
I am happy
na
that I
ovom
can
mestu
greet on this place
premijera, s
the
obzirom da
Prime
nije
Minister.
tu.
With me
Tu
here,
je njena
but
ekscelencija,
Her
ministarka
Excellency,
Svisma
the
Švaraj,
Minister Bašvaraj,
ministra inostranih
the
poslova,
Minister of Foreign Affairs,
narodnog poslanika Harišan
Commissioner
Rathoda,
Harishan Rathoda,
koji
who
je unazad nekoliko godina želi da
has
pitanje
years
Roma
back,
postavi i na dnevnom redu u indijskom parlamentu.
put the question in the Indian Parliament.
Gospodin Šamparande,
Mr. Shamparande,
generalni sekretar
General
Indian
Secretary
Konsila
of the Indian
International
Council,
Operacion, koji je među
who is
najzaslužnijim
among
u vezi
those most
organizovanja ove
credited
današnje
organization of
međunarodne konferencije,
today's international conference,
istaknut akademik, sociolog,
The prominent
književnik, novinar,
academician,
komesar za obrazovanje u Svetskoj organizaciji,
literate
dr.
journalist,
Shashi Singh,
Mr. Shashi Singh,
koji je također dao svoj veliki doprinos
who also
u
gave a
realizaciji ove
great
konferencije.
contribution in the realizing of this
Naš
conference. Our
brat
brother,
Dev
Dev
Radvaj,
Radvaj,
koji je značajna ličnost za
who is a
povezivanje
prominent figure
romske
for
dijaspore
connecting
sa
the Roma
Indijom.
diaspora with India,
Koji je također komesar
who is also a
za kontakte
commissioner
dijaspore sa
for
Indijom,
the
dugogodišnjeg
contacts of
saradnika
Indian
Roma
diaspora and
u
long-standing
dijaspori,
contributor for the
čijom
Roma
je zaslugom
diaspora,
najveći broj romskih
by
intelektualaca
whose merits the greatest number of Roma intellectuals
na poznatim međunarodnim festivalima
And introduced
pisaca upoznao
themselves,
postojbinu Roma, Pendžab i Chandigarh,
Punjab and
kao i
Chandigarh,
mnoge druge
the
političke
motherland
predstavnike,
of the Roma in India, as the well-known
diplomatskog
international writers and
predstavnike
representatives
lidera
of the
sektora,
diplomatic
doktora
corps,
nauka,
PhDs and prominent
magistre,
figures,
antropologe,
magisters,
etnologe,
anthropologists,
istoričare,
historians,
sociologe,
sociologists,
politikologe,
political scientists,
eksperte,
experts,
aktivisti iz redova indijske zajednice,
activists from the Indian community,
novinare,
journalists,
dopisnike, agencija,
correspondents
listova,
of different agencies, magazines,
radio, televizija.
radio, televisions.
S posebnim zadovoljstvom želim da pozdravim
I would
akademika
also, with a great
Sam
pleasure,
Šašija, koji je
like to greet
poznat po
the
tome što je u
academic
svojim
Shamshashi,
knjigama
who is known by writing in his books,
preko 50
over 50 of them,
pisao o Romima
about the Roma
i sa
people,
antropološkog aspekta je
and from the
ukazao
anthropologic
da su
aspect,
Romi jezičkog,
proved that
istorijskog,
Roma is linguistically
kulturna
and
manjina
cultural minority
naše države
of
Indije.
our country, India.
Očekujem da neće se završiti
I expect
na ovoj međunarodnoj konferenciji o Romima,
that this will not
da
end
ćemo
on
ipak
this international
posle
Roma
niz
conference, that
vekova i godina
after all of these years and
dobiti
centuries, that we will
rezultate koji će
finally see the results that will
rezultirati i jednu i drugu stranu.
have benefit on both sides.
Bićemo u kontaktu,
We will
radit
be in
ćemo
contact. We
na
will
svim
work
onim
on all
progresivnim
of the progressive
i prosperitetnim programima
prosperity
koje
programs
će ojačati jednu i drugu
that will
stranu.
strengthen both sides.
A sad mi dozvolite u ime Svetske
Now, I would like to say
organizacije
in the
Roma
name of the World Organization, Roma
da
Organization,
dodelimo kao najveće priznanje određenim ljudima s kim
as
smo
the greatest thanks to
bili
all of the people who we were
u
in
kontaktima
contacts
skoro 7-8 meseci
for
i
almost 7-8
upravo
months, and
ti dugoročni kontakti su
these
urodili
long
rezultatom da
and
danas
persistent
održimo
contacts
ovu konferenciju.
as a result have this conference that we're holding today.
Ja se također želim zahvaliti
I also would like to thank
i vladi Indije,
the government of India,
jer bez pristanka vlade
because
Indije
without
i
the
saglasnosti
amen
vlade
of the
Indije ne bi se
Indian
ovo danas
government,
održalo.
today this wouldn't be held.
U ime Svetske
In the
organizacije
name of the World Roma
i
Organization
moje lično ime,
and me
toplo
myself,
pozdravljam
I warmly
svoje
greet
predstavnike indijske vlade, indijskog parlamenta,
the Indian Parliament and
kao i sve vas,
government
dragi
officials,
moji prijatelji,
and
braći
all
i
of
sestre,
you, my dear
koji ste
friends, my
prisutni
brothers and
danas
sisters
ovde.
that are here today.
A sad mi dozvolite,
Now please,
gospodin Rajškar, donesi mi ovaj...
Mr.
Da. Generalni direktor Indijski savjet kulturne odnose, ICCR,
Please, can
koji
you
je...
put it here? Just a moment. Well, the plaque is, oh. The Director General of the ICCR, Mr. Rajastar,
koji je itekako dao
who
kapacitete
he provided the capacity.
u kojim smo imali korespondenciju
We had the correspondence,
i upravo je, zahvaljujući njemu,
and
gospodinu
thanks to
Parandeu
him and Mr. Parande
i svim ostalima
and everyone else
je došlo do ovog velikog skupa.
came to this
Daj mi. Rajškar.
great happening today. The rest?
Generalni Indian konsila
The Director General of the
Kulturnog
Indian
centra
Council
je
for the Cultural Relations,
gospodin Rajškar.
Mr. Rajashar,
Vodio sa nama
held
prilično
quite
prijateljske
friendly
kontakte
contacts with us.
i videli smo iz tih naših razgovora, kontakta, da
We've seen from
stvarno
these contacts
će
and
doći
talks
do
that
nečega, a to je
it will
današnja
come to
konferencija.
something,
U
and
ime
this is
svega
today's
toga,
conference. And in that name
u ime Svetske organizacije Roma i
of
lično
the
svoje
World
ime,
Roma Organization and in my name,
najtoplije zahvaljujem
my warm thanks
i pozdravljam,
and
jer
greetings,
smo se uverili,
because we have realized that
predstavnici Indije gledaju na romski narod
the
kao
head
svoj
of
narod
India sees the Roma people as
i
their
da će
own,
konačno doći do rezultata.
and that it will finally come to some
Gospodine,
results.
puno pozdrava,
Thank you very much.
najbolje,
My greatest thanks.
sa
All
zadovoljstvom.
the best with my pleasure.
Dalje za Parande. Gospodin Šam Parande,
Mr. Shamparande,
generalni sekretar Indijskog savjeta,
General
međunarodnog
Secretary
saradnju.
of International
Mnogo puta smo se čuli,
We have been in
mnogo
contact
puta smo
many times
diskutovali
and
i
had many
telefonom
conversations
i
over
preko
telephone and
tehnologije koja je
other
danas savremena u
technologies that
svetu.
today the
I-
world provides.
I on je vrlo zaslužan čovjek za današnji dan,
And,
za ovaj skup. I nadam se, ne samo
to thank
danas,
for
nego da ćemo
today's
nastaviti ovo i u buduće
happening, and
i da ćemo raditi
we hope that
ovo
we
što
will
smo danas
continue
započeli.
what we had until now and continue what we have started.
Šamparande, ja. Evo vidite, ovo je najveće priznanje
This is
Svetske
the
organizacije koje
greatest pleasure
sada
of our
upravo
world organization that I will now be handing to you,
našem prijatelju i
my
bratu,
friend
gospodinu
and brother, Mr. Champaran. My greatest acknowledgement.
Gospodin Sham Singh Shashi, on
Mr.
danas
Shashi,
nije ovde, on je
he isn't
bolestan
here today,
i
unfortunately,
mi ga pozdravljamo i uručit ćemo,
we salute them,
najverovatnije ćemo otići kod njega,
and we will probably
da ga
visit him
posetimo i da mu uručimo.
later and hand him himself.
Dozvolite mi, imamo profesora,
please
doktora romanolog,
Let me, we have a
koji
Romanolog,
je,
a professor
koji je
of
ušao
who
u istoriju Roma.
went down in the Roma history,
Upravo je on dao
He
fundament i
gave
temelje
the fundaments and
budućim naraštajima
of-
i budućim inteligencijama
the
kako
future
treba i
intelligences
šta treba
and
jednostavno
in the ways
proizveo je materijal
he
kako da
gave
se
all the
dalje školuju i
material
obrazuju,
of
a
how
to je doktor
they
profesor
should
Marcel
be schooled
Kurtijane.
in the future, Mr. Marcel Kurtijane.
Marcel, doktore, תביא
Marcel.
ססטוב אבטלות, בוט zasluži sardan, bučer dan buči, hvala hem, hvala narodu, hvala romani nacija. Puno si radio i velike si dao doprinos romskoj
You
zajednici.
gave, your achievements were great for all the Roma people. You have worked a lot. Thank you.
Dozvolite mi, i tu smo pri kraju, imamo profesora
Ending the next, we have
univerziteta, doktora
of the
Georgi
university,
Saraua,
and
on je iz Rumunije,
Dr. Georgi Sarau from Romania,
savjetnik za romski jezik pri Ministarstvu za obrazovanje.
and he is in. He is the.
On je čovek koji radi i
Uh,
usavršava romski jezik
he is working on
i mnogo
the
je toga
Roma
pisao o
language. He has
Romima,
written a lot about the
tako da
Roma.
možemo komotno da
We can
kažemo
easily
da
say
je
that
značajna ličnost
he
u
is
romskom
a very prominent
narodu.
figure for the Roma people.
Georgi Sarau,
Georgi Sarau in the Ministry of Education.
Take o Saravu, da ste se majbari pačim, katare amariju umljači organizacija, sasuće da pala marinacija, pala marokem, pala mararoma. Da već se s toga konu. Buma i Saravke bunde. Ša englesku potpunosti.
I am here. I am working in the Ministry of Education, and also I am working in the University of Bucharest. I am Romani professor for Romani language.
Okay. Pozivamo gospodina Deva Bardvaja.
Mr. Dev Bardvaj, please approach.
Ja. Pozivam Zlatomira Jovanovića,
We would like to invite
koji
Zlatomir
je
Jovanović,
magistrant,
who is the magistrate
kulturolog,
and the culturologist,
koji je
who
vrlo jedna značajna
is
ličnost u
a very
romskoj
prominent
zajednici
figure in
i
the Roma
obogaćuje
community
upravo
and enriches
sa pisanjem
with his
raznih
writings
značajnih
of different very important historical books for the Roma
i u ime svetske
society in the
organizacije.
name of the World Organization.
Želimo ti sve najbolje,
We
da
wish
i
you
dalje
all the
radiš
best.
ono što si
Continue
radio. Hvala.
your great work. And
Da, daj mi ono.
we would also like to
Zaključit ću sa ovim
I
pozivom
will end with this invitation of
Sašu
Mrs.
Bali,
Sashi Bala,
koji je
who
takođe
was also
mnogo dala doprinos i vreme
gave a great contribution in her time
za današnju
for
konferenciju.
today's conference.
Da li je Saša Bala tu? Izvolite, gospođo Saša Bala.
Mrs. Sashi Bala, congratulations.
Zbog
Because
vremena što me opomenuo
of the
naš
time,
prijatelj,
our
imamo
friend
upravo plakete da
warned me,
dodelimo
we have the
članovima romske
plaquettes to give
zajednice, ali to ćemo,
the members of
oprostite,
the
kasnije.
Roma community, but this, excuse me, we will do later.
Hvala na vremenu
Thank
i
you
hvala
very
na
much for your
razumevanju.
time and understanding.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words and even kinder gesture. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for our guest of honor? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, has been at the forefront of fostering and developing India's relations globally. Under the dynamic and visionary leadership of Srimati Sushma Swaraj, our Honorable Minister for External Affairs, India is establishing itself as a global superpower through its innovative diplomacy. It's my utmost honor to now request and invite our Chief Guest, Honorable Minister, Srimati Sushma Swaraj, to share her valuable insight with all of us.
President of World Roma Organization, Jovan Damjanovic. फ्रेंड्स, आपने देखा वो यहाँ आके केवल इमोशनली नहीं हुए, ऐसे लगा जैसे ये मंच उनका अपना है। जैसे वो बहुत बार यहाँ आते रहते हैं, उन्होंने पूरे मंच को अपनी तरीके से चलाया। वो जो कह रहे थे कि भारत मेरा है, वाकई लगता है भारत आपका है और आप भारत के हैं। ऑनरेबल प्रेसिडेंट आईसीसीआर श्री लोकेश चंद्र जी, उन्होंने जो ज्ञान हम लोगों को दिया, मुझे नहीं लगता कि 10 पुस्तकें पढ़ने के बाद भी हमें वो ज्ञान मिल सकता था जो एक पेपर में यहाँ इस मंच पर 20 मिनट में हमें लोकेश चंद्र जी ने दे दिया। मैं आपके प्रति आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ। ऑनरेबल प्रेसिडेंट ARSP श्री शशांक जी, डायरेक्टर जनरल ICCR श्री राजशेखर जी, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. With great pleasure, I welcome you all to the inauguration of the International Roma Conference and Cultural Festival. I also thank the organizers, ICCR and ARSP, for convening this conference. It is a pleasant coincidence that the Roma Conference is being inaugurated on Basant Panchami. आप सबको बसंत पंचमी की बहुत बहुत बधाई। This festival is celebrated here as a spring festival. The day also assumes great significance as this day marks the birth anniversary of Maharshi Dayananda Saraswati, the founder of Arya Samaj. His life and legacy contain the children of India who migrated and lived in challenging circumstances in foreign lands for centuries. Yet you maintained your Indian identity. A strong 20 million population of your community, spread over 30 countries, encompassing West Asia, Europe, America, and Australia, speaks of your unique ability of adapting to foreign cultures. You are an example of peaceful coexistence in challenging foreign conditions. You are indeed the first flag bearers of the Indian culture overseas. We in India are proud of you. Your Bado Than means the Bada Sthan India once again welcomes you with an open heart. Friends, links between India and Roma community are based on traditional Indian value system and go back to centuries. Many Roma scholars and historians engaged in conducting research on their origins are believed to have their roots in India. Romas are considered to be descendants of nomadic groups in India who traditionally are believed to have been blacksmiths. There is credible evidence which indicates the migration of Roma community from India towards the west in the 5th century. Some scholars claim that the first wave of migration took place when Alexander made blacksmiths from India part of his entourage. They were iron smelters and experts in making war weapons. The fact that the Roma community found a term and thereby a place for itself in various foreign languages is indicative of the process of socio-cultural diffusion that was taking place since centuries. Romas are known by different names in different countries, such as Jigunar in Germany, Sigan or Manush in France, Tatara in Sweden, Gitano in Spain, and Shingan in Turkey and Greece. They are known as the Sigan in Russia, Bulgaria, and Romania, and Gypsies in the UK. Even in India, they are known as different names in different states. In Haryana, they are known as Gadia Luhar. In Punjab, they are Vanjara. In UP, they are Banjara. And in Karnataka and Maharashtra, they are known as Lambadi. Dating the origin of these terms in foreign languages would also give us the date when the Romas first arrived in these foreign countries. Today, the Romas are present in good numbers in the countries where the Roma community migrated. For instance, in Eastern European countries such as Romania and Bulgaria, the Roma community constitutes 12% of the population. Other European countries having large number of Roma population include Russia, Slovakia, Hungary, Serbia, Spain and France. Their population is about 2.75 million in Turkey. Though majority are based in Europe, Roma community is present in almost all the continents, including around 1 million in the United States and approximately 800,000 Roma in Brazil. It is interesting to see how the community which migrated in the times of wars adapted itself to the culture of country it made its home. The saga of the Roma community in human history is known by their countless sacrifices. Approximately 2 million Romas were killed during the European war. However, the community was not involved only in manufacturing of weapons and fighting wars. Their contributions in the countries they made their homes goes beyond warfare techniques and technologies. Roma community has contributed a lot in the field of arts, science and sports, as also in the field of politics. The Romas were also involved in training the princes in countries like Poland and Latvia in warfare techniques. The Roma community has made unique contributions to the society in a range of fields, thus taking the identity of community to great heights. It has given the world distinguished painters like Pablo Picasso and Antonio Solario, the famous comedian Sir Charlie Chaplin, the Spanish flamenco dancer and painter Misaela Amaya Flores, Romanian tennis player Elena Stafe, and Hungarian violinist Janos Bihari. The list of eminent Romas also includes Greek songwriter Kotsula Glekeria, the artist Yul Brynner, singer-performer Elvis Presley, twice Oscar winner Sir Michael Caine and Bob Hoskins. We Indians are proud of the progress and name that the Roma community has made for itself at the local and international level. More significantly so, because the process of adaptation, diffusion and progress was based on Indian value systems of peaceful coexistence, respecting other cultures and contributing towards growth. Roma maintained Indian traditions in the countries that were unaware of India and its culture and traditions, and thereby maintained Indian identity. It is a remarkable example of how a community can maintain its unique identity even while coexisting within a majority culture that is foreign. The cultural heritage of the Roma community, which reflects the traditions of ancient India, has been a topic of research for years. As the External Affairs Minister of India, I want to congratulate all those scholars who have rewritten the forgotten history of Roma community and its links with India. This needs to be further augmented with continued efforts and in-depth research. Precious heritage of Roma community and its relations with India needs to be carefully preserved and documented. The research work needs to be enhanced with renewed vigor. In this context, I recall that in collaboration with International Research Organization, Modi Foundation, and our Ministry of Culture, a major international Roma conference was organized in February 2001. The conference was attended by 33 Roma scholars and representatives from 12 countries. These representatives had extensive interaction with the then Prime Minister, Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. During his meeting with Roma leaders, Atal Bihari Vajpayee said, and I quote, "The belief that the Roma people once upon a time belonged to northern India and continued to show various similarities in their customs and manners with the cultural heritage of India and its people offers scope for a very interesting study in human development and migration of people from one part of the world to another. The study should be particularly fascinating when one considers that these migrations took place in far-off days across the globe," unquote. I need not say this, that his ideas are still relevant, and conference like this gives the necessary impetus to research and study of the fascinating subject. Friends, the aim of this conference is in consonance with our own centuries-old worldview of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means that the world is one family. India is not a mercantile nation, pursuing only material objectives, but a civilization of values, vision, and promoting harmony. We have a natural affinity and concern for the people of Indian origin and their well-being. I am sure that this conference will create further awareness globally about the Romas and contribute to this objective. I am confident that the deliberations of the conference would provide useful pointers towards developing educational and scientific structures and help in finding solutions for challenges being faced by the Roma community across the world. It would also discuss political, educational, and economic challenges being faced by the Roma community. This conference will create awareness about Indian origins of the Roma community, research studies and conducted on them, and the vast literature about them available in India. My Roma brothers and sisters, India today is progressing and developing at a rapid pace. We would like to assure our continuous and unstinted support to our Roma brothers and sisters. We also welcome you all to contribute to Mother India's development and be active partners in this noble and exciting venture. I wish the conference a grand success. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing the historic origins, spread, struggle, and strengths of this incredible community and standing by the conference of mutual collaboration. Ma'am, and ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, I will once again request the Honorable Minister Srimati Sushma Swarajji to kindly release the conference souvenir, which incorporates the paper of the panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for this special release that is really happening right now? Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, all deliberations of the conference will be incorporated in the souvenir and it will be released again for the general public. Ma'am, I would also request you to kindly release Pravasi Sansar, the special Hindi edition for the Roma conference, which is edited by Mr. Rakesh Pandey. Ladies and gentlemen, another special release this morning calls for a round of applause from everyone in the auditorium, please. Thank you very much, ma'am, for helping us do the honors. I now hand over the the mic to Shri Shashank, former Foreign Secretary, Government of India and President, ARSP, for proposing the vote of thanks.
On behalf of the Antarrashtriya Sahyog Parishad, Indian Council for International Cooperation, I would like to convey our grateful thanks, very gracious presence of Honorable Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj ji. We have been very much encouraged by your presence, ma'am. We are also grateful to the President of ICCR, Professor Lokesh Chandra, who is not only the President of the Cultural Relations Body, but also he has led the team of scholars. Some of them have migrated towards the Antarrashtriya Sahyog Parishad, and so we are very happy on that account. So Sham Singh Shashi ji and Shashi Balaji, who have been referred to, they are members of our Antarrashtriya Sahyog Parishad, and they were the moving force behind our organizing this international conference. I would like to say, before thanking others, that Antarrashtriya Sahyog Parishad organized some international conferences in the past. They were for the parliamentarians of Indian origin. And they were very much encouraged by the governments at that time. Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji was very encouraging of that. So now once again being encouraged by Sushma Swaraj ji, we felt that the Antarrashtriya Sahyog Parishad should now start building stronger links with people of Indian origin wherever they exist and whatever manner they exist. And this one, I think, was mature enough to be brought onto this platform along with the ICCR, where we could welcome our Roma brothers and sisters. And therefore, we are grateful to you that all of you have traveled long distances. And your President, sir, especially you, have come and taken charge of this stage also in some way to give awards to your own and recognition to your own members who have done a lot of Roma studies. The Director General ICCR, of course, he has been an old friend, and I think he has given us all encouragement. The curtain raiser which he organized for the media the other day, I think, was very helpful in conveying good ideas. Not depend only on Lokesh Chandra ji and Sham Singh Shashi ji, Shashi Balaji to every time come every 10 years and address a conference. We must keep this documentation, the important material which they have given to us over a long lifetime of studies, and see that they are part of our youth. And I have welcomed, there is an exhibition also outside. I hope you will be able to see that exhibition outside and encourage these people who have come from different countries to have the Roma conference. Thank you very much. To also recognize a Member of Parliament, Mr. Osman Persu from Turkey. He is the only Roma who is a Member of Parliament in Turkey, and I hope that we will have many more parliamentarians who are scholars.